Welcome to Roofing Road Trips, the podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey across the world of roofing. From fascinating interviews with roofing experts to on-the-road adventures, we'll uncover the stories, innovations, and challenges that shape the rooftops over our heads. So fasten your seatbelts and join us as we embark on this exciting roofing road trip.
Welcome back to another Roofing Road Trips from Roofer's Coffee Shop. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and it's May. So we are here to talk about one of the most amazing initiatives in the industry, and that is the ABC Supply supporting Home for Our Troops every year with matching program around the Indy 500. Such a fun time. So we today have, again, a repeat guest. We have Brigadier General Tom Landwehrmeyer. Hello, welcome back to the show, General.
Thanks, Heidi. Always great to be with you.
Oh, love it. We've had such great conversations the past couple of years. And I'm really excited this year to have Liam Dwyer, also with Home for Our Troops, or a Home for Our Troops veteran, here with us today. Welcome, Liam.
Thanks for having me, Heidi. Appreciate you doing this for us. Thank you very much.
Oh, we love it so much. Well, before we dive in, let's go ahead and start with some introductions. So, General, if you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Sure. So I'm Tom Landwehrmeyer. I'm the President and CEO of Homes for Our Troops. I've been with the organization a little over 7 years now, going on 7.5. Wonderful mission to build and donate specially adapted custom homes across the country to the most severely injured post 9/11 veterans to enable them to rebuild their lives. We are currently in our 20th anniversary year. We've built and donated 379 of these custom homes to date across 45 states. We've got 77 projects underway across the country, another 100 veterans in the application process of our program. And on top of all those numbers, there's still about another 1,000 more of these veterans severely injured enough that would qualify for our program. Normally, we average about 25 homes on the ground a year. This year, we're really pushing it to get to 31. And that will allow us on the 21st of September, just outside of San Antonio in New Braunfels, Texas, to donate our 400th home. Really proud of that, Heidi.
Oh my gosh, 400 homes. That is just amazing. Liam, please introduce yourself and tell us how you're involved.
Sure. My name is Liam Dwyer. I'm a retired staff sergeant from the United States Marine Corps. I stepped on a bomb in May of 2011, amputating my left leg above the knee, as well as severely damaging my right leg, right arm, and my left arm. I actually am in the process of flying up to Walter Reed later on today to meet with some doctors for a surgery that I'll probably be having late May, early June. But I am currently a Homes for Troops home recipient here in Lake Worth, Florida. I received our home in August of 2020, so right in the middle of COVID. But the opportunities this has presented me are pretty profound. So I can't thank Homes for Troops, General Landwehrmeyer and Bill Lively enough for everything that they do for us. So thank you, guys.
So if you could share with us just the vision of the organization, how it got started, and just kind of really, you told us a little bit about your 400th home, but really what inspired Home for Our Troops?
So we were started actually back in 2004, and it was by a general contractor here in Taunton, Massachusetts, who was watching the initial couple of years of both Iraq and Afghanistan wars going on, and watching all the severely injured veterans that were coming home from those two theaters. And he really thought that he had the ability to build a home for one of these guys or gals that would make their life easier moving forward. And he started looking for a veteran to do that for. And he came across a veteran that had come back and had lost both of his arms during the conflict. His name is Army National Guard Sergeant Pete Damon. And he approached Pete and said, "Hey, I'd like to do this for you. I'd like to build you this home." And Pete gave him basically the same response that all of our veterans give initially, which is, "I don't deserve anything like this. I was just doing my job. I can't ask for anything like that." And he kept after Pete. And Pete finally said what I think every one of our veterans would have said is, "Okay, I'll accept the home on one condition." And our founder said, "Name it." And he said that I'm not the last, that you keep building it for others. So with that, we had a mission and a vision automatically. That home went on the ground in 2005 in Middleborough, Mass. Pete Damon is still in his home. He became an artist. We actually give away a lot of his work. Again, lost both arms and is an artist and runs an art studio there in Middleborough by the art studio is named True Grit.
I love it. I've heard that story so many times before, and every time I love it even more. So Liam, how did you get involved?
So I was actually in the process of retiring in 2015, and my wife, girlfriend at the time, saw that, I would probably be needing a adapted home with zero thresholds for, to me to live in comfortably. And I was very stubborn at the time. I was walking daily and I was like, no, I'll be fine. Growing up in Connecticut, most of the homes are colonial styles, stairs, to and from the basement, to and from the bedrooms. It's like, no, I'll be able to do it. I'll be able to do that. And so my wife applied in 2014 for us, and she actually applied to a couple of organizations. And I don't remember what day of the week it was that she submitted the application, which is around 14, 15, 16, 20 pages long.
Wow.
And she submitted it at 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I would say within an hour or two, she had a reply back from Maura saying, we got your application. We'll be reviewing and we'll be in touch with you soon. And she's the only organization that got back to us.
Wow. That is awesome. And so then from 2014, 2015, and then you were able to move into your house by 2020.
So that's actually kind of a process along with it. So Homeless Star Troops receives your application, and the applications pretty much go pretty in depth with the veteran. They need to verify, who you are, what your injuries are, your medical report, to see if you're actually going to be deserving of this home. So they are doing their due diligence up front. And then you get selected to go to a conference, which is held up in Foxborough, Massachusetts. I believe it's still at Gillette Stadium, sir. And so you go up there, and I went up there sometime in 2016. And, you go through that process there, which is, I think, 3 days long. And they go over the process of, building the home, designing the home, the financial impact that it could have on you, how the house will benefit you. So they want to see that people aren't just going to be receiving the home and then saying, I got the home and, that's it. And they review, your essential interview process there, and they determine if you're going to be an eligible recipient for the home. So we were fortunately, obviously chosen, saying yes, you'll be able to get a home of ours. And a year later, we've found our land here in Lake Worth. And so we're like, okay, we're going to get our home soon. Yeah, but this is where the length and the patience come in, because we waited in the neighborhood of almost 3 years for them to start our project here. So they had the land, but then there was land surveys, site surveys, everything that they had to go through in the permitting process. So it's a phenomenal program, but you got to be patient with it, because just like everything in the military, when you're moving something large, it's very difficult to move that large item without doing a bunch of logistics first. But yeah, we got our home in 2020. We love it. And one of the benefits that we have with that being mortgage free is my wife and I were able to afford IVF. And we had our son Connor born a year or so ago.
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. Congratulations. Because I was just going to say, how has your new home impacted your life? But wow, that is the most amazing impact there is. A beautiful son.
Yeah, that's the financial aspect of it, right? We were able to afford to, do IVF and get a son. That's one benefit of it. But probably the biggest benefit is my freedom of independence for living here. And when you talk about freedom, people talk on, freedom of speech, protest, a bunch of other things that we almost take for granted here. And some of those freedoms that you don't even think about are being able to go to the bathroom safely, being able to shower safely, going to pick your kid up out of the crib, being able to enter his bedroom, cooking, cleaning, eating, all those different things, grabbing pots and pans or plates, up in the cabinets there. And once you get one of these injuries and you're not able to stand anymore, or you're not able to, properly function with your hands, Homes for Our Troops comes in and builds you an adapted home that has grab bars on the toilet, bench in the shower, the cabinets are lower, there's roll under for the stovetop, roll under for the counter to where I could eat, wider doorways, wider hallways, so I could get in so I could see my son, pick him up out of the crib when he's crying at night, like 3 o'clock this morning. So there's a lot of benefits with it, and it gives me the freedom to live independently. So when my wife leaves, whether it's for, to go out to the store, to do other errands or things that she needs to do, she knows that I could live safely and independently in the home here.
Well, Tom, we've talked about that before, that it's for the veteran and it makes impacts and changes their lives, but the impact and change for the family is just as significant. Maybe you can speak to that after this amazing story.
Yeah, first I'd say I probably don't need to say anything else the rest of the podcast. I can log off. You can just hang here with Liam and he'll talk about the whole thing. He's
I love it.
He's,
sorry, sir, if I'm taking away your thunder. I apologize, sir.
There is no need to apologize for anything. I mean, it's just what happens to the veterans, and he's just telling you like it is. He's explaining the challenges that they have when they are living in a regular home, and then what one of these Homes for Our Troops home allows them to do, what the home actually empowers them to do. I'd give you another example of a veteran here recently, and I could give you tons of, and I've been killing my staff here over the weekend and this morning on getting different things to tell you stories about. But there's one, after Liam has spoken there, there's one that really hits home that you're trying to grab at about the impact. And even though we build it for the veteran, it does impact the whole family. And so we got a veteran and his family down in Texas who received their home last June, so not quite a year into their home. They were living in another home there in New Braunfels, Texas. And so when they moved into their HFOT home, it allowed the spouse's parents to move into their old home. So that was a benefit. So they're still able to have grandparents. They've got 3 kids, so they're able to have grandparents close and everything. And then a few weeks after they moved in, her parents were involved in a tremendous car accident. And they were very severely injured, and both of them wound up in the hospital. And they were there for quite some time. And after they came out of the hospital, because Val and Segi had an HFOT home, they were able to take her parents and bring them into their home, their HFOT home, and take care of them and let them rehab and recover there. And the entire family was able to celebrate Thanksgiving last year at the HFOT home with her parents there. Instead, her parents would have been in a nursing home somewhere trying to recover from their injuries. They have since completely recovered, and they're back in Segi and Val's previous home, so they're back in their own home. But again, our veteran and his spouse just tell us without an HFOT home, they could have never done any of that. So not only has it impacted our veteran and his immediate family, but also their family as well.
And they're not the only ones to do that. I'm sorry, Heidi. We're doing the same thing here, Tom. My wife's parents both of them had strokes in 2022. Fortunately, her mother doesn't have any residual side effects with it, but her dad, about a week or so ago, actually less than that, got diagnosed with Parkinson's. Mm-hmm. And they started moving in here over December. They sold their place for us to become multi-generational. So, Tom, I didn't even think about that, sir, of the parents being able to move in so we could take care of them. So it's not just the spouse, being able to take care of their husband or wife, whoever it may be. It's the entire impact of all the family members generationally. So it's, Tom, I apologize for interrupting Heidi there, but I think that's another snippet that I think is good information for everybody.
I think
so
it's
glad
great
you
information.
Did.
I think it's great information, and also tell you that it just highlights the fact that I need to get up off my butt and get myself down to Lake Worth and give your wife Megan a big hug. Seems like she needs to do that right now.
Wow.
We're only about 2 hours away, sir. So talk is cheap until you do it.
Right now, I'm actually up in Boston, so it's a little bit more. But when I get home, I got to do that. I just got to do that.
I love it.
No, I understood. So I know you got a lot going on, sir.
Right.
Well, Liam, when we hear what it does for the family, for the growth of the spouses, obviously now for the parents, multi-generational, but for you personally, what can kind of share what this has meant to you just in what you can do, after you said you retired, you moved from Connecticut to Florida, but what has the Homes for Our Troops really done for you emotionally and just in growth overall?
So I'll tell a story if I could. When I moved in here in August of 2020, I was walking every day. Tom, if you remember, hand me the keys, walked into the home. It was great. It was awesome. And I'm looking around the home here. And I'm like, it's great. Lower countertops. The outlets are a bit higher. Windowsills are a bit lower. Roll under for the countertops. Hey, that's great. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you much. Right. And don't think much of it. And then in January, 2 months later, after moving in, I fell. My right leg gave out on me, and my right leg doesn't work anymore. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to Walter Reed later on today. I've been wheelchair bound ever since. And at that point there, once I got into the wheelchair, trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? Because all I known was living in normal homes. And now all of a sudden it'd be, I can reach the plates. Oh, I can reach the bowls. Oh, I can cook. Oh, I could do the dishes. And you don't realize any of this until you actually need it. And it immediately took that stress away from me as to what am I going to be able to do? How much assistance am I going to need? Because I could literally at that point tell my wife, I was like, oh, you know what? No, I can make my own breakfast. No, I could do a little bit of cooking. No, I could go into our son's bedroom and take care of him at night there. So for me, it's a bit of relaxation and relief as far as that goes. And it allows you to live comfortably here where the obstacles that you would have in a regular home are greatly minimized. So you could wake up in the morning and realize that you're not going to struggle to do just your basic day-to-day tasks. So if there's one adjective for me to use, it's relaxation.
I love that. That is inspirational. So it takes a community, takes a lot of donors, takes a lot of people to make all of this happen. So, General, I'd love it if you could share how your relationship has been with ABC Supply and how you've worked together so that they could be, and our roofing community overall could become a part of Home for Our Troops.
Sure, Heidi. ABC Supply, I refer to it around here as the gift that keeps on giving. We have a couple partners like that, but they're the ones that stand out because they've got a nationwide reach in their company, and without a doubt, all the way down to whatever level of individual you want to talk about at one of their company locations across the United States, they all know about our organization. They are completely and fully all in with our mission and their capability to help us out with any task. It doesn't matter how big or how small a task, they are always there. I was just recently out in California a couple of weeks ago giving away home number 379, and ABC Supply Company was there in force with volunteers. Had one of their trucks outside the home with big U.S. flags hung from the truck, so that everybody that's driving by can see them. They were there to volunteer setup. They stayed all the way through until the end, and they were just like us, the last to leave the day after we had cleaned everything up. So it goes from the top of their organization with Ms. Diane Hendricks, their co-founder and chairperson of their board, all the way through their organization 100%. They've been with us for several years. They actually, we got linked up with them initially back in 2016 through Certainteed, who is another national partner with us and has been for a long time. And we were building, and I'm going to be fully transparent with your folks there, Heidi, and it come full circle. It will show you just what kind of company ABC Supply Company is. But we first got introduced to them back in 2016, and we were building a home up in Wisconsin. And so they got interested in us and started working with us a little bit. But it was during a time when Homes for Our Troops was using build partners. And build partners were contractors that we could find that would build our homes, but not bill us for their work. So in essence, they were volunteering their time and their pay so that it would cost us less to put a home on the ground. And when I came in 2017, one of the longest languishing builds that we had going was that one in Wisconsin. And in the end, it took us over 2 years to complete that home because we had to change out builders. We had some challenges and again, build partners. And that was one of the primary reasons that the team here decided within my first year being here that we were not going to do build partners any longer. Because what would happen is that they all had a great heart and they all approached it knowing who they were building for and they wanted to do it and they weren't going to charge us. The challenge was if they had 5 homes being built, there were only 4 of them that were bringing in money and allowing them to pay their bills. And ours wasn't. And so if there was one that was going to slide to the right as far as completion or the timeline went, it was going to be ours. And what we decided was we absolutely owed it to our veterans that once we start a home build with these guys and gals that, just like any other home around the place, you ought to be able to get it done in 8 to 10 months. And so that's what we took on, and we stopped using build partners. And ABC Supply watched us, and we stayed in contact with them. We'd go up and talk to them at international builder shows each year. And in 2019, their COO reached out to us. Mike Jones reached out to us and said, hey, our new CEO is wanting to look at a different way of doing philanthropy, and we are still interested in you guys, in your mission, and are inviting you to come up and give us a pitch. And so we did that in the fall of 2018, and then in 19, they started their partnership with us. So that just shows you they had an interest in us, thought we were doing the right thing. We were having some challenges, but they kept an eye on us. And when we got everything straightened out and fixed up where we're doing right by our veterans, and they came back in, and they've been a great partner ever since.
And they do so much to raise money so that you can pay those builders, so that you can get the homes going. And so always exciting. We have our Indy 500 that is going to benefit, and it's actually the full month of May. So it's the ABC Supply with Homes for Our Troops and how the industry can get involved May 1st through the 31st. And we know that that's part of the ABC Supply and HFOT Racing are teaming up to raise $4 million to support Homes for Our Troops leading up to the Indy 500. That is so excited, $4 million. Tell me about that, General. How is that working?
So we're about to see how it's going to work. We know ABC has been going double time with it, and we've been trying to keep up with them, make sure we're ready to go. We think we are. It's going to start the 1st of May and run through the 31st, all month long. The last couple of years, they have been into it with us with $1 million match on the first $1 million that we brought in. Last year, we were able to bring in 2 on our own with the $1 million match. It gave us $3 million for the month, and this year they wanted to up that, and so they've been working even harder, getting ready to go out with all their advertising and everything. Had their folks working with us. They've redone the car a little bit. Heidi, last year, they told us, hey, this race is going to be all about you guys. And I didn't know what all that meant until that month of May. And I saw the car and I listened to Larry Foyt, talk about us. I listened to Santino Ferrucci, our driver, talk about us as they were spinning up to May. Then I watched the car. We got to meet those guys, talk to them even more, spend time with them. We watched the race. When they introduced the driver, it was the driver of the number 14 Homes for Our Troops car. It wasn't the driver of the ABC Supply Company car. If you looked at the car, and last year Santino ran a great race. He came in third. He spent a lot of time on TV because once he gets up there towards the front, and he led a good number of laps last year, then they keep that camera, and that camera is on that car. And there's a lot of people that like that livery, as they call it, the paint scheme, the red, white, and blue, and it's got our logo was all over the place. Well, this year, the other thing they've done is they've plastered our website right on the side of it. So you will have to look hard on that car to figure out that ABC Supply Company is actually the sponsor of it. Because you would think with all the stuff that's on there that it's got to be us, but there's no way we could afford to sponsor something like that. So it's those guys that are doing it, and they do make it all about us. Their hearts are very much into this mission. They want to see us come away with maybe in a $4 million a month. And I think we can definitely do it. We just got to continue to do our outreach, and everybody that listens to the podcast, please get out there and tell everybody you know about us. Watch it on TV and ask people to help us out with this $1 million match we've got going from ABC, but with an entire $4 million goal for the month of May.
Well, I tell you what, you have so many people out there who love this, who believe it, the patriotism, everything that's going around it. What kind of, after seeing Home for Our Troops on that third place winning car, did you see some ratchet up of people of interest and people getting a hold of you and what is this?
We definitely have. We saw it at that time. We saw visits to our website going up. We saw some increase in donation. Of course, in that month of May, everything we got coming in is going towards that match and towards that fundraising effort. But it definitely helps in awareness. But you can't beat everybody that's out there talking to another 5 or 6 individuals to tell them, because they might not all be looking at the race. Not everybody is a IndyCar racing fan. That's a finite group in the country. But we certainly, the mission appeals to everyone in the country. So anybody that knows about it, just relay the information to friends, family members, folks at the gym, at church, at work, wherever it is, and let them know about this organization, what we do, but especially who we do it for. And it'd really help us out.
I love it. You can find all this information on Roofer's Coffee Shop or all of the coffee shops. And just, it's so easy. Home for Our Troops, USA.org/donate. You're going to see that in the directories, in the ABC supply directory on Roofer's Coffee Shop, but you can find it also. It's very easy. And if everybody in the roofing industry just gives a little bit, we'll be set. That's what we need. And Liam, when you think about all those people out there who are donating, what ABC Supply is doing with, this match in May, how does that make you feel? And what are some words you have for everyone out there and on how important this is?
So despite being a home recipient, it makes me feel inspired. You get to see the amount of people out there what they're giving and their love for our veterans. Since the HFOT started in 2004, the thousands of veterans that have survived these catastrophic wounds is into the thousands. These are injuries that the guys would have died from. In the Gulf War and absolutely in Vietnam. So think of all these veterans that are catastrophically injured and they need these handicap accessible homes. The more people know about the need for the money for these homes, for these guys to live in safely and securely, and knowing that people care, and even if it's $5, $10 that they could afford, you multiply that over hundreds of thousands, if not a few million people. Now, in the Indy 500 alone, there's over 300,000 people there watching the race, not to mention the millions upon millions that are going to be watching worldwide. So the more the car runs up front, the more there's spotlight on the car and spotlight on the organization. It's 1 or 2 other people that will see about it, make a small donation. And all that goes to help all the veterans. Over 90 cents of every dollar that's donated goes back to the veterans. So there's other organizations where it's over 50 cents of that dollar go back to, paying the individuals, that work for it. very minimal of that goes here. So people need to know that when they donate their money, it's actually going to the veteran to build that home. It's not going to pay a board member, a few $100,000 or millions of dollars. That money gets transplanted right to the veterans into building their home. So people need to know that when they donate, it's not just going, to them. It's actually going to be benefiting the veteran and their families.
Another thing I'd add to that, if I could, as I travel around the country, people come up to me all the time, and even with these guys, say thank you for your service and everything. I wanted to serve, but I wasn't able to, and I always tell them, hey, you don't have to wear a uniform to serve. You can serve right now today by supporting this organization, supporting these veterans and their families, because we really don't see, even though we are one, we don't see what we do as charity. We really see it as the moral obligation of the citizens of our country to take care of these veterans and their families because they volunteered to serve. We haven't had a draft since 73. They raised their right hand. They went down range when called. In a blink of an eye, their lives and their families' lives changed forever. It's our country's responsibility to take care of these guys and gals and their families. And that's how folks can do it, is by supporting us.
I'm inspired, as always. Yes, that is so awesome. So, okay, May, everyone needs to donate. And we're in ABC Supply. Thank you so much. It's going to match up to $1 million. The goal is $4 million, which I have no doubt will happen. I do have a question. After this campaign, after May, how can the roofing industry continue to give back to help these veterans? What are some things that you would recommend, General?
The best thing, Heidi, would just be to get on our website, hfotusa.org. We've got lots of places on there. There's a drop down for how you can partner with us, how you can support, how you can donate. There's a build map that will take you state by state, and you can click on the state, and it'll show you all the locations that we're currently building for these veterans. So those 77 projects I had that I said are underway, they're all listed by the different states. And if they find one that's in their area, they can click on it, and there's a way to put your address in there, and we'll provide you updates on the different build events, because there's 3 build events per build: a kickoff, introducing the veteran and the community to each other. And then that's about the time we pour the slab. And then about 6 weeks before we give them their keys, there's a volunteer day. And that's where we need volunteers by 100 or 200 to come out and do all the landscaping. And then about a month and a half later, we have a key ceremony there at the house, and we give them their keys. So folks in the industry can get on that website and see where we're building things, get updated on when we're building. We can put you in contact with the builder if you're wanting to help out or something like that, or if you want to do a fundraiser in support of a specific build or an area, you can do all that. But it all starts getting on our website and going from there.
I love it. And the website is HFOTUSA.org. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. I am so inspired, and thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us, and thanks to ABC Supply Company.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, ABC Supply. This has been truly excellent. Thank you much.
And I'm going to say thank you to ABC Supply too. Again, it shows roofing respect and what happens in the roofing industry, and ABC Supply is leading the way. So get all this information on the ABC Supply directory on Roofers Coffee Shop, and be sure to donate in May. It's easy, and every little bit is going to make a big difference for veterans in need. Gentlemen, again, thank you, and thank you all for listening today. Please check out all of our podcasts under the RLW navigation under Roofing Road Trips, or on your favorite podcast channel. Be sure to subscribe and set those notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We'll be seeing you next time on Roofing Road Trips.
If you've enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on every roofing adventure. Make sure to visit rooferscoffeeshop.com to learn more. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next Roofing Road Trip.